The turf sprint is a grade one, run at 5 furlongs at Del Mar on the Saturday Breeders' Cup card, and this is always a really fun race. You look at this field, it's a full one, and we've got quite a few also eligibles, and you'll see them on the right. Um, we, you have some really, of course, Cogburn is the one that everybody's going to be paying attention to. It's just been spectacular this year. That Jaipur was just unbelievable. But you've got some Europeans that are going to spice things up quite a bit. Most notably, Big Evs, who won the juvenile turf sprint last year, believing a 3-year-old filly running against the boys. Bradzel, who's been a really solid Euro on for turf sprints, and Star of Mystery for Charlie Appleby, who's been over here and has done some damage as well. And then you've got the interesting Isavungu Vungu, the South African import, and we'll see if he can continue with his one stakes race here, and we'll look at that. So the first one we're going to look at is horses who ran in the Prix de l'Abbé de Longchamp, and it's there's 4 of them, starting with Bradzel. And this one has been, again, a really solid performer, and had some injuries earlier in his career, but has come back and been very effective. He was in second place there. Thing to remember about races at Longchamp or in France is that the ground tends to be heavier, per se, than it would be necessarily in other countries. So it's always a little deeper, and want to pay attention to that. Then you have Believing. Another one by Maymus. There's 3 horses running in sprints, all by Maymus. And this one had a good third as a 3-year-old against older. I think that's significant as well for George Bowie. Then we have Aesop's Fables, who's been around a while for Aidan O'Brien. Never underestimate anybody from him or from Tabor Magnier. Didn't have a very good race, but again, big fields, and that isn't necessarily telling of how a horse might do when they come over here. And then finally you have Starlust for Rafe Beckett. And this one has been, you see, is 11 out of 17 in the money. Incidentally, after we look at the Prix de l'Abbé de Longchamp, we're going to look at the Nunthorpe Stakes because we do have a couple that ran in that as well. But we'll start with the Prix de l'Abbé de Longchamp. So this is the Prix de l'Abbé de Longchamp, and it's going to be kind of hard to see some of these because it is a really big field, but Bradzel will be the most prominent in the red and white. He is in the 9 hole. Believing is in the 8 hole. Starlust number 2, and Aesop's Fables is in the auxiliary gate in 15.
Off for the Abbey, they get away. Bradzel very quickly out, right in the centre of the red and white colours. Shows in a prominent position. Curtis on Washington Heights and Starlust are with that. Desperate Hero, Makarova and Rogue Lightning behind these 2. Engelmere and Believing. Then comes behind those Grand Grey. Aesop's Fables right up on the outside of runners. They're already heading down towards the halfway stage. Red Bradzel, the noseband is Washington Heights. Between them in yellow colours is Desperate Hero. Rogue Lightning up on the outside. Kurdos in a black jacket. Grand Grey, Makarova, Eastern's Fables behind these. They're followed by Starlust, and behind Starlust then is the no half measures, the orange cap, as they head down past the 300-metre mark. Bradzel in red coming under pressure. Desperate Hero, this 2 together. Makarova moving into 3rd. Washington Hero is behind. Washington Heights behind that. And Makarova in the turquoise jacket coming to join Bradzel in the red. There's trouble on the running rail, but Makarova's won the Abbey. Bradzel and Believing are right in behind those no half measures, and Desperate Hero was behind those.
Next, we're going to look at the Nunthorpe Stakes, which was a grade 1 run in England, I believe. And Bradzel, again, who won the race to get into the Breeders' Cup, and you just saw had pretty good effort in the Prix de l'Abbé de Longchamp. Again, a little heavier turf there, so perhaps the turf was a little more firm in the Nunthorpe. Something to keep in mind. Starlust as well, who ran much better, and you know, again, with the ground being maybe a little more favorable, a little firmer, perhaps these 2 would help them running at Del Mar. And then, of course, we have Big Evs, and we know from Santa Anita last year on firm turf he's fine, but he didn't do too terribly well in the Nunthorpe, but we're going to have a look at that one now. So here's the Nunthorpe, and this was a Breeders' Cup win in your in race for Bradzel. In the red and white, you can see over on the extreme right, and you've got Big Evs on the extreme left in the 14 hole, and you've also got in the middle Starlust and Believing, who will be prominent late. And interesting, Big Ed's
Clarendon House
usually
came
really
sideways
sharp
out of the stalls, completely missed it, tailed
quite
off.
as strong
Pontos
as usual,
on the
but
right,
does
showing
make his
customary
presence
blazing
felt,
early speed. Chased
trying
by
to get up there,
Bradsell in
but
red
I
and
think
white
it might
jacket
have,
and Starlust in the pink
having to
and green
rush
to the
up kinda
nose-banded
cost
grey
him
as
late,
your
but-
blue. Down the left, Washington Heights in the beige colours with Big Evs in the red and blue, and then Asfor in a striped jacket. Further back to Frost at Dawn, and then Believing and Macarover, and So Majestic, and last of all is Clarendon House, and they're going through halfway at 43 miles an hour. And Bradsell in the red and white has moved through to take over here. On the left, Big Evs, Washington Heights in the beige. Asfor are now beginning to run on. Pontos on the far side. Bradsell leading them down towards the last furlong, 3 lengths ahead. Asfor are coming out of the pack. Also running on quite strongly is Starlust down the near side. Believing is beginning to flash home. Bradsell in front, clinging on grimly. And Bradsell wins the Nonthorpe. Very close for second between Believing and Starlust. Asfor are close up in between them.
Next, you're going to see a grouping of horses who ran in the Woodford Stakes, and many of them also ran in the Ainsworth Turf and Harvey Pack. So you're going to get a really good look at many of these. Arzak is one who's been very prominent. He's a hard knocker. He was very solid in the Breeders' Cup last year at Santa Anita, and maybe returning to California will be the ticket for him. He's run okay, third in the Woodford and a fourth in the Harvey Pack. Father Time might be getting to him a little bit, but he's one that you want to think about, especially for your exotics. Charcoal, to me, is kind of an also ran. Did get a good second in the Woodford Stakes, but I'd have to say that's probably the best effort he's had in quite some time, and he's an also eligible in here. And then third, we have Coppola for Dale Romans, and this one, since moving to turf, has been okay, and he's another one. He's hit or miss sort of, and kind of prominent on the front end, and also eligible. And I don't know how seriously I'd take him going into if he does make the field for the Breeders' Cup. But let's take a look at the Woodford Stakes. Okay, so here's the Woodford, and you've got Charcoal in the 3-hole. Coppola in the 9-hole, and Arzak in the 10-hole.
They're off in the Woodford, presented by FanDuel. XY Speed and Coppola.
You see
both
Coppola's pretty quick, as he usually is, up to the lead.
Nonay Hudson away in fourth. Our shot moves
Charcoal
up
going
in
to
fifth.
save ground on the rail.
Sixth up on the far outside. Charcoal is seventh back toward the inside. And then Arzak, who moves up eighth on the outside of horses as they work their way to the far turn. No Ball sneaks up through the inside along the rail, moves by 2 horses into the third position within 3 lengths of the lead.
This was a pretty wide open race as I remember
followed by
it.
Gear Jockey, who runs next to last, and One Timer is last. Opening quarter went in 21.35 seconds. Coppola to the outside of Super Quest. No Balls is third behind that front pair. Foxtrot Anna is fourth on the outside, 3 lengths off the lead. Super Quest, the leader. They turn
got
for
some
home.
room on the lane there.
Is still there on the outside.
Coppola's
No Ball
really
switches
game on
lanes
the
off
front
the rail.
end.
Takes aim. Still 3 lengths away. Charcoal comes
Actually
up the inside into the
past
fourth
Super
position.
Quest
Arzak is still far back, trying to run late with Our Shot. Here comes Our Shot running forward on the outside. Charcoal needs room. Our Shot gets the lead. Our Shot gets the win in the Woodford. Presented by FanDuel. 3 wins today for Luis Saez.
Don't know how much it's going to stack up with the better, but not a bad race.
The unofficial winner of the 28th running.
Next, we're going to look at those that ran in the Ainsworth Turf Sprint, and we've already seen Charcoal and Coppola, and we'll see them again. But Cogburn, of course, is a horse we really want to be paying attention to. This one just ran a hole in the wind in the Jaipur Stakes. It was just an unbelievable effort. And, I thought, excuse me, following up in the Ainsworth, especially at Kentucky Downs, it might be the time to beat Cogburn, but no problem. I mean, he was just equal to the task, and another solid win. Since this horse has moved to turf, he's just become a superstar. He was a good dirt sprinter. The question's going to be, how will he handle some real competition from the Euros? Because he's got the Americans licked, but you've got a couple there like Bradsell who may give him a run for the money. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles the competition. But let's take a look at the Ainsworth Turf Sprint from Kentucky Downs. So here's the Ainsworth Turf Sprint, and Cogburn is the favorite at 1-1, even money. So he is in number 4, and he'll be prominent
5-0
quickly
somewhere
as he
going
usually
in.
is.
They're all in line.
And this is a 6-furlong race, and we know at Kentucky
They're
Downs
off
this
in
plays
the
more like 7
Ainsworth Turf
furlongs or a
Sprint.
mile because of the
It was a good start for
because
Cogburn,
of
who
the,
goes straight to
complexity
the
of
front.
track.
Cogburn, the
You see
favorite to the early
Cogburn
lead,
right to
and
the
he's quick
lead.
enough to take advantage here and clear with 5 furlongs to run, a length and a half lead. On the inside is Charcoal running in second. Coppola right up there, 2 in third position. As they make their way around the turn, now takes a spot into second. Mustache is next, and then comes No Balls, Noble Reflection, and One Timer on the inside. Right in behind them, Gear Jockey, a wide trip for 5-0 somewhere. Cadem is next. Axthelm, and
It's
way
interesting,
behind
this
is
may
Winnie
work like kind
as
of
they
a
make their
route
way
to
toward the
sprint
top of
type
the
of
stretch.
angle
It is
because it is,
Cogburn who will turn
plays so
for
much
home in
longer,
front.
this race
Cogburn,
does,
the leader,
than
at the
the
top
Breeders'
of the
Cup
lane
will.
here. Charcoal sneaks through on the inside. Right up there, too, is No Balls, who comes up alongside of them. It is
Look at that,
Cogburn to
21
catch,
44,
3/16
no
to go.
problem.
No
He's
Balls on the
gone.
outside, moves up into second. Charcoal is down toward the inside, but Cogburn is opened up. Cogburn is opened up by 3. Then No Balls in second, One Timer, and Charcoal on the
55 for 5
inside. No
furlongs.
doubt about it. It is Cogburn. Cogburn scores by 4. Cadem rallied late for second. Axthelm looked like he got third outside of No Balls.
The next couple ran in the Eddie D Stakes, and the first is Big Invasion, and JK's favorite. This is a horse who certainly has a lot of ability. I mean, you can't get 15 starts in the money out of 21 unless you do, but boy, does this horse find trouble. It just seems like in every race there's one obstacle after another this horse has to get through. Certainly has ability, and with a clean trip, he's certainly one that could win this, could win the turf. But it's just a matter of the trip with him. And then we've got Air Force Red, who is another one that on occasion will run a good race, but kind of inconsistent to me. This one's sort of really hard to trust in a lot of ways, and isn't also eligible here. But we're going to take a look at the Eddie D and see how they fared. So here's the Eddie D, and it's important to note that this one is run out of the turf chute. So this is a downhill start, and we'll cross over on the dirt. So as a prep for Del Mar and the turf sprint at 5 furlongs on a completely flat track, I don't know how good a prep it is, but you'd have to think it's kind of a tightener because of the longer distance and maybe a little more rigorous trip around the turf. You're going to have Air Force Red in the 6 hole and Big Invasion all the way outside in the 11.
And they're off in the California Crown Eddie D Stakes presented by FanDuel. And it is Noble Reflection who gets the first call, but now rushing up Fast Buck with his natural speed up to take the lead away from him, and Boss Sully is third in the opening stages.
He's going to quickly drop
Then
back
Air
to
Force
about
Red,
mid-pack.
King of Gosford along the inside. Big Invasion not far behind, just 6 lengths
Air
off
Force
them, racing
Red,
2 clear of 2
about
rivers over.
mid-pack as well.
It's a gap of 4 to First Piece, who's followed by Step Forward. The 2 trailers are Eamon, and Johnny Padres is at the back of the field. Down the hill, chasing Fast Buck. Fast Buck leads it by a length and a half.
And this
Boss
is
Sully
the
angles
turf
out
shoot.
to
Some
come
horses
after him
really
in
like it,
second,
some
and Noble
don't. So that's
Reflection
another
is
thing to
racing in
consider.
third. It's another
So
3
again, I
lengths
don't
back
know
to
how
the
good a
next
prep
flight
this
with a
is
quarter of
for
a
the
mile
turf
to go.
sprint, but you see
As
them
Boss
going over
Sully
the dirt here.
is
And
up on
Big
even
Invasion's
terms with
revving
Fast
up,
Buck.
but
Fast
he had
Buck
to
trying to cling to the
swing
lead.
wide there.
Boss Sully First
He's
Piece
coming up,
is coming through smartly along the inside, has the narrowest of openings to get through, and here he comes. First
pretty
Piece
well, but
takes
not
off
enough.
inside
Air
the
Force Red
furlong
ran a
pole
pretty good
and
race.
opens up a 3-length lead on Air Force Red. First Piece and Mike Smith, stellar in the California Crown Eddie D presented by FanDuel. Air Force Red was second. And then
Next, we're going to look at a couple that ran in the Harvey Pack, and that means Big Invasion, who won the race, who you just saw in the Eddie D. The Harvey Pack is obviously at Saratoga. It's on completely flat surface. And then we have Arzak, who we talked about earlier. We saw ran in the Woodford, ran an okay third, and got a fourth in the Harvey Pack. So let's take a look at that race. So here's the Harvey Pack, and we've got Big Invasion at number 8 and Arzak number 5. And this is 5.5 furlongs, as you can see.
they're in the gate. they're off in the Harvey Pack.
It's a pretty good field as well, so it's a good gauge,
right
I
on the lead
think.
anyhow.
You had Big Invasion, broke
Spice
okay,
has
but
some
dropped
early
into
gas.
the rear, and then
In
Arzak
between
about
those two,
mid-pack.
taking the lead is High Front, so it's High Front in front. Smittick Spice along the inside, Superquest in third, charging fourth, 3 lengths off the lead. It's a break of 3 to Surveillance on the inside of Our Shot. Arzak is in between those two. Then Big Invasion and Mr.
Flat.
21 flat. High Front not messing around. Leads it a length and a half to Superquest. Comfortable in second. Smittick Spice along the inside third. They are followed by Charging. Our Shot is on the outside. Arzak down at the rail has 6 to make up, starting to mount his bid. And getting to the outside of the course is Arzak. And Big Invasion is widest of all. Final furlong, Superquest.
Even if he had, though, I don't know how much he had in the tank to take this one down. Big Invasion swings out, and he's definitely full of gas.
Big Invasion is coming with a fierce run, and that's the Big Invasion we know.
In a while, so pretty solid effort for Big Invasion. Exactly the kind of race
in the
that he wins.
Pack.
Next, we're going to look at a couple who ran in the DeHaas Stakes at Colonial. And the first is Isavunga Vunga, say that 3 times fast. Trained by Graham Motion. You don't see too many of his running in a turf sprint. And we don't see too many South African imports either. But we've got one here and had a really good trip in the DeHaas. And I think that made the difference for sure. Nothing Better has been a hard knocker for a long time. You see 22 out of 31 starts in the money. This horse has been a bridesmaid this year, a couple of seconds, but is a very competitive performer. And if he were to draw in, he'd be an interesting horse depending upon where they place him. But he certainly can hang with the big boys, and he's a nice horse. So let's take a look at the DeHaas. So here's the DeHaas, and Isavunga Vunga is number 5, and Nothing Better is number 8.
And the race is on in the Corbell DeHaas Stakes. Cruisin' Man got away in good order and Blast ran out to the front, starts to work over toward the inside. That's right. Also away well.
You see, they both have similar stalking positions.
Right outside of that
just
one goes Nothing Better in
Vunga's
fourth.
got the rail saving a little more ground.
Chisler, Dream Shake is right there. Then comes Sweet Cherry Pie. Maya Prince also in that back group as well. They head toward the far turn. Cruisin' Man, and that's right. The 2 outside runners make their way over toward the fence. They're 2.5 clear of Isavunga Vunga. Nothing Better. They race together 3rd and 4th. 21-4 was that opening quarter mile. Cruisin' Man, and that's right. Those two continue to press on. Isavunga Vunga inside of Nothing Better. Maya Prince trying to love Dream Shakes 3 or 4 wide as they come to the top of the stretch. That's right on the outside.
And really, that was the
Room at
difference
the
in the
inside for
race.
Isavunga Vunga, who
Got the
starts to come
trip.
through. Here's
I
Isavunga
think
Vunga
Nothing
coming
Better
up on
ran
level
fine
turns.
and
Nothing
maybe
Better
with a
down the
little bit
outside. Maya
better,
Prince awaiting room. Trying to
position.
follow the move of
Might have
Isavunga
taken
Vunga.
it
Sweet
down,
Cherry
but you
Pie.
see
They have a
Nothing
final
Better
16
gaining
to go.
stoutly.
Isavunga Vunga. Now Nothing Better on the outside. Sweet Cherry Pie down toward the fence. Isavunga Vunga just in front. Nothing Better on the outside. Isavunga Vunga. Nothing Better. They drive one. Isavunga Vunga held on.
Good Isavunga
Nothing Better was
Vunga
second.
is,
Third was
but
really close between
certainly
Cherry Pie and Maya
benefited from a
Prince.
nice ride there. Next grouping are those that ran in the Franklin Stakes at Keeneland most recently. And first is Star of Mystery, and we've seen what this horse can do. This is a 3-year-old going against older. We have to keep that in mind. And the 3-year-olds running against older, you know, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And we'll just have to see. But this one certainly has a big late kick. Charlie Appleby, you know, we'll see who rides him. I will assume it'll be William Buick, but you never know. This one is certainly one to watch for sure. Then we have Pandora's Gift, and this one is we also looked at for the filly and mare sprint, but is going to run, I think, if it came down to it, would probably run in this race. Had a pretty good third, ground-saving trip in the Franklin. And then we have Frost at Dawn, who I thought ran probably the best race of the 3 of them. Had swung wide and displayed a pretty big kick late. But let's have a look at it and you can see for yourself. So for the Franklin Stakes, we have Star of Mystery is on the rail in the 1 hole. Pandora's Gift is number 2, and Frost at Dawn is number 7.
They're off in the Franklin Stakes.
See Frosted
There goes
Dawn
Stone
was a little
Silent from the
slow out of
outside.
gate.
Pipsy has early speed.
And
Future is now outrunning in third. Accomplished Girl away fourth. Pandora's Gift comes out in fifth. Roses for Deborah sixth. Elm Drive seventh upon the outside. Then Care You is eighth. Star of Mystery is ninth. In traffic down toward the inside. Don't Look Back at All is in 10th position. Frost at Dawn is 11th. Awesome Treat 12th on the outside. 7 lengths off the lead as they work their way onto the far turn. 21.17 seconds, the time for the opening quarter. Stone Silent, the leader. Stone Silent leading Pepsi by a length and a half. Future is now third toward the inside. Elm Drive, fourth on the outside. 5 lengths off the lead. They turn for home. Star of Mystery is last off the far turn. Stone Silent chased by Future is now, who comes to the outside. Future is now coming after Stone Silent. The final furlong. Pandora's Gift goes to third. And then Pepsi is fourth. Future is now has the lead in deep stretch. It is Future is now in front. Future is now is home in front for Paco Lopez and the Franklin.
Still had a really nice kick, but you know, needs to ride. Star of Mystery needs to be ride a little better.
Official winner of Keeneland's featured eighth, 28th running of the Franklin Stakes Grade 2. Number 5, Future is.
Howard Wolowitz is also eligible and ran in the Franklin Simpson Stakes at Kentucky Downs, which was an extremely contestable race. There were really nobody was at the forefront in that one. It was a very wide open race. This one had run a pretty good one beforehand, so there was a little bit of hype on, a little bit of talk about Howard Wolowitz. This is a 6.5 furlong race, and again, Kentucky Downs, we know it plays more like a mile. So there's 2 ways to look at it. Is number one, is it a tightener, kind of a route to sprint type of thing, or is it too far? In other words, or is Del Mar too short? Because one thing you'll note when you watch this race is that Howard Wolowitz kept on well, but then at the very end he kicked in with a big kick. Now, can he do that sooner if he draws into the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint? That'll be the question. So let's have a look at the Franklin Simpson. So Howard Wolowitz is number 10. You can see to the outside. And again, 6.5 furlongs, playing more like a mile at Kentucky Downs.
Stakes. General Ledger comes on
running
running
well
well
pretty
with
well,
Hedwig
about
on the
mid-pack.
inside.
And I think that's always a good place to be at Kentucky Downs. Very difficult to win
It will be General
on the
Ledger
lead.
to emerge up top in the initial
See,
stages here.
pretty
Joined
keen,
on the
pretty
outside by
full
Joe
run.
Shiesty. Now it's these two matching strides on the lead. 2.5 lengths back to Apollo 10, who moves up on the outside into third position. Then it's Bear River, Hedwig along
like
the inside.
pasture,
Howard
isn't it?
Wolowitz going up outside of horses, clear from Yellow
very
Card
manicured.
and Evade. Right in behind them, Mansa Musa, a separation of 6 lengths back to Smoky, Vote No, and the trailer Please Advise. They're making their way toward the top of the stretch. And it is Joe Shiesty who turns for home with the lead here. To the outside, Apollo 10 has moved up into second position. Howard Wolowitz trying to put in a run on the outside. General Ledger's there. Hedwig got caught in tight quarters. And moving on the outside is Yellow Card. It is still
really
wide open. Here comes Yellow Card up to grab the lead from Howard Wolowitz. Now these two are 1-2. Behind them comes Evade in third. Howard Wolowitz fights on from the inside, and he's going to do it. Howard Wolowitz with a big bang in the Aristocrat Franklin Simpson Stakes. And then it was Yellow Card, second best under the wire. Mansa Musa was third.
Now here's a horse I think we really want to pay attention to. This is Motorious. He's trained by Phil D'Amato, and he is 3 for 3 at Del Mar. And he has 2 wins in the Green Flash handicap, which we're about to look at. And he ran in this as a prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last year, where he finished 5th at Santa Anita. Now, at a course that he really likes, who knows? But you're certainly going to get a price because he's a California horse. And but I think this is one maybe we ought to pay attention to. So let's have a look at the Green Flash. So here's the Green Flash, and Motorious is number 10.
All set. And away they go to a good beginning. Sassy Nature very fast from the inside. Unconquerable Keen in the white colours. Mo Gold right there too. Nano Hudson in the light blue goes up to race third, and Fastbuck comes through down at the rail. Daniel's Magic is in the green. Turn on the Jets on the far side. 5 off the leaders. Behind that comes Motorious in the pink inside Star Racer. Last of all is Johnny Podres. They come in past the 3/8 pole and Sassy Nature the leader. Sassy Nature, Unconquerable Keen now comes to take her on. Fast Buckers down at the rail. No Nay Hudson, Blue Cap on the outside. Turn on the Jets are starting to get involved late as well. And then Mo Gold wide open as they come for home. No Nay Hudson, powerful though. And No Nay Hudson strikes the front. A flying late run from Motorious. Motorious coming like a rocket, and Motorious got him. Motorious got up to when Johnny Podres came from dead last, was flying late. Will be in that photo for second.
And didn't fare too well, so I don't know how much we can take from that. But Motorious looked pretty darn good on the strip here. Forbidden Kingdom is way down on the also eligible list, so I doubt that he'll get in. But this is kind of an intriguing horse. Was on the Derby Trail for a little while last year, and since cutting back to sprints has been a much improved horse, though that last effort in the Kona Gold Stakes, disappointing 7th, you got to wonder about still. This one has a lot of early lick, and at 5 furlongs, maybe that's a custom fit distance. Dick Mandela feels that he's good enough to run in the race. You have to take him very seriously for sure. Then we have Ag Bullet or AG Bullet, and if you watch that Kentucky Downs Ladies Turf Sprint, she was just absolutely marvelous. I mean, it just blew that field away and was at 15-1 on the morning line and dropped down to the favorite, so it was no secret. Stretched out the next time in the First Lady Stakes and ran an okay 4th, I suppose, but clearly a sprint is a better distance. Now, the one question is the Ladies Turf Sprint, I believe, was at 6.5 furlongs, and you have that same issue with these horses leaving Kentucky Downs, running at these longer distances. Can they do it at shorter on a flat track? But this one has a lot of natural speed and is really good out of the gate, so I think is one we probably have to take pretty seriously. So that's the field for the Turf Sprint, and we've got a couple of fillies in there, and those Euro imports are really going to make a big difference, I think. I'm not worried about them running on firm ground. We've seen a lot of them do it plenty of times, though there are some that maybe it won't be as good as perhaps they would be if the ground had a little give in it. So those are certainly an issue to think about. Also, the cutback, for a lot of these horses is, are they as good at 5 furlongs as they are at 6 or 6.5? That's a really big issue. So there's a couple of things to think about as you look at these replays, and I hope this presentation will help you in your research for the Breeders' Cup. We're going to continue onward. We've done quite a few so far. I believe we've done 9. So we've got 5 left, including the big ones, the Classic, the Turf, the Distaff, and we'll all have all those for you. So stay tuned for that. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well. Oh, and by the way, please like and subscribe. Talk to you soon.